Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Create Brevity. I'm your host, eDirector, and for this week's episode, we're going to discuss how to stay in alignment with your manifestation. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you that we have an amazing blog, and we do offer one-on-one coaching on our website, www.createbrevity.com. Okay, so let's get into it. How to stay in alignment. Well, this is actually, let me first start by breaking it down a little bit. What is alignment? This is a term that gets thrown around a lot, and oftentimes people use it without really understanding it, and therefore the word has taken on this kind of like new agey, like almost like the way that the word vibration has sort of been taken and turned into like a buzzword, right? But alignment is nothing more than just staying in the perspective of someone who has what they want, someone who gets what they want. And that's it. There's nothing more to it. It's not, a lot of people, like I said, they sometimes forget that manifesting is very simple. It is all about getting what you are, and you do it naturally every day, every second. Who you think you are is what is sort of the thing that is getting you all these different experiences. And you can test that out. If you're not really sure about it, you can test it out. Now, this is the basis of Everyone Is You Pushed Out, which we've covered in past episodes and in different articles on the blog. Okay? But that's what it is. Alignment is another way of saying everyone is you pushed out. Okay? The trick is to stay aligned with this new perspective of yourself, this new idea that you have of yourself, okay? Enough for it to start pushing out, okay? And that's pretty much the only thing that manifesting requires, okay? So, how do you stay in alignment? Well, first of all, what usually starts to happen, and we talked about it with the oscillation episode where we kind of talk about going in and out, right? What will happen is most of the time people will find themselves very aligned, very happy, secure, but then they'll get triggered, okay, and they'll kind of fall off. Now, if this happens to you a lot and it takes you a really, really long time to get back into alignment, you might want to do some self-concept stuff, okay? Just start actually kind of putting the manifestation a little bit on the back burner and start focusing more on like who you are and why this is so triggering for you, okay? And so often, why it triggers you so often. So you need to release that sort of preliminary resistance before you can actually really start to stay in alignment. And once you start doing that, it definitely gets easier. So that's going to be the first thing. The second thing is, once you've released that preliminary resistance, you've started focusing on manifesting again, you're back on alignment, you will get triggered again, okay? The first thing that you're going to want to do is just accept the fact that this is normal. I know that a lot of times this will happen to people and they freak out. They're wondering what they did wrong. They're wondering if they need to work harder. And no, that's not the case. Negative feelings and emotions happen to everyone, and they happen for a reason. They're coming up so we can be released. Usually they're just leftover thoughts and feelings, right, from your old self. You can think of them as like leftovers from your shadow self, right? So once you go ahead, okay, and you get these negative feelings again, don't give up on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just understand that your ego is trying to protect you. It doesn't want you to get disappointed. It doesn't want you to hope for something and then get disappointed. And it does not want you to be in a situation where you're hurt. So it's going to do everything it can to try to get you out of that pain. And that sometimes works against you, right? For example, you really, really want to raise, but here you are finding yourself almost talking yourself out of it in your head. Oh, I'm not going to get it because of this and that. You're actually looking for reasons why you won't get it. Okay, that goes against your benefit, but your ego doesn't know that. all your ego can remember is all the different moments in your past where you didn't get something you wanted, and it just wants to temper that good feeling. Okay, so it wants, if you're really, really high, it wants to bring you to your lowest setting or to a median setting because it's worried. So accept that that's normal, accept that that's going to happen. Okay, those are the first two keys. I find that a lot of people, once they actually really understand that it's normal and that it will continue to happen for everyone, okay? People have been manifesting left and right for years, okay? Occasionally have bad days. The only difference is they get right back on that horse, right? They know what's happening. They've accepted it as being part of the process, right? Manifesting is a lifestyle. It's not just a complete, I'm just focusing on this one goal. It's changing the way that you think about yourself and therefore the way you think about your life. Okay? So acceptance is going to be great. It's a great tool for releasing that resistance, for getting back into perspective. Okay? And then the next thing is, in those moments where you're really, really focused on your manifestation and you're focused on those negative thoughts, start going back to yourself. Almost like what you're doing with self-concept, but you don't have to go in quite as deep. Just remind yourself of all the things that you like to do. Remind yourself of who you are. Is there anything you could do right now, okay, that's going to focus on who you are? Is there anything you can do right then that you've always wanted to do but haven't for whatever reason? Can you allow yourself to do that? Okay? You'll find that as you start looking around, as you start thinking about yourself, okay, and the things that you like to do, that you're not really going to be thinking about your manifestation in that moment. So in that moment, you have once again shifted back, okay? Because you were focused on the scarcity, and now you're focusing on you, on the abundant version of you, okay? So there's this great quote by Maria Rilke where she talks about how if you live through the problem, you'll eventually find yourself living through the solution. And I'm obviously paraphrasing that. That's not exact, but the sentiment is there, right? So just allow yourself to have the problem, okay? And then let the solution come to you as well, okay? Now, the third thing, okay, and it's going to be about this perspective shift as well. You're going to want to, if it's a very bad triggering moment, okay, try not to make it mean anything about you. And what I mean by that is you're not your feelings, right? Your feelings are going to change 1,000 times a day. You know, for some people even more, right? They go left and right. But that's sort of separate from you, okay? Who you are, like to your core, okay? You may be feeling those feelings, but they're not you, okay? It's the same thing when you look at the 3D. Try not to tie yourself down to it. So just because you saw your best friend got her acceptance letter to an Ivy League college and you haven't gotten it yet, that doesn't mean you're not going to get into an Ivy League college. It just means that she got her letter, okay? A lot of times we see things like that and they'll trigger us and they'll kind of make us think, oh, well, I didn't get mine. I guess I'm not going, you know, things like that. You'll get really, really upset. Don't make it about you. Think of it as a good thing, right? Remember, birds before land are different like hints and different indicators that things are hardening into fact, right? They're becoming integrated into your 3D. So if you see someone else getting a letter, right? Someone who's close to you, great. That means yours is on its way, right? It means it's faster. It's coming faster than you thought, okay? So try to put different meaning onto the things that are happening to your 3D, and that's going to stop you from getting triggered quite as often as well, okay? Which is going to stop you from shifting out of perspective and shifting back in. It's going to allow you to stay in the perspective, right? You're consciously changing your energy so that you can align with something that you want, okay? That's it. And it's going to allow you to stay in that good energy. You're going to feel better while you're manifesting, okay? And you're going to feel more abundant overall, right? And that's the goal. So, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Love and light.